Right, welcome back to another tutorial video for Play Action Football. This is a new tabletop football game from the Clark & Addison Gaming Company. In this video, we're going to cover how to use the player finder to be able to get individual players, to be able to assign attempts, rushing attempts, catches, passing attempts, etc., as well as things like sacks and interceptions. So we can assign those to players based off of their statistics from that particular year. So let's just run through an example of a play that we could assign something to. So we have Minnesota on offense, the Broncos on defense. First down is going to be a medium pass to a base defense. So let's say they're running a 3-4. So a medium to a 3-4 defense is going to be a -2. There's no other advantages, so we'll just carry that -2 with us. And then we roll. Let's see, I had Minnesota here. And we roll, and a 12 -2 is a 10, and that's for a medium pass. So that's going to be a 10-yard pass, so pretty good play there. That'll be 1st and 10 coming up. But we want to know who caught the pass. So that's it's going to be Kirk Cousins. We'll just say Kirk. And who's he going to pass to? So we're looking for the receiving column. If I roll a 1 to 3 is TJ Hawkinson, a 4 to 5 is Jordan Addison, a 6 to 8 is Justin Jefferson, a 9 is KJ Osborne, and a 10 is the running back Alexander Mattison. So we're going to see who got that 10-yard medium pass. It is 9, so that's going to be a 10-yard pass from Cousins to KJ Osborne. So we can attribute that catch and the yardage to KJ Osborne. A lot of times I like for sure on big plays, so interceptions, fumbles, touchdowns, that sort of thing, to assign a player just so I can kind of keep track of who scored. An alternative way that you can do this is after you finish the complete game, you can take your stats. Actually, let's see if I have some stats on here. I do. I have some stats here. This is from the 85 NFC Championship game. And you can see here I have some cumulative stats for each team. Now what I could do is I could go through the cumulative yards and attempts. And attempts are, passing attempts are one thing. So let's say that we take the cumulative yards gained from passing 131 yards. And now I can go to each of these players who played in the game, and I can say 1 to 3, that's 30%. So 131 times 0.30, which is 30% as a decimal. And then that number can be attributed to that player. So you can go in after the fact where you're not keeping track of everybody's statistics beforehand, or like as it's happening during the game. And then you can begin to attribute those statistics to the players afterwards. You could play an entire season and take your cumulative numbers and then just sort of distribute those out to the right players. And based off of these percentages, these are based off of attempts. So number of receptions for receiving, number of attempts for rushing the football, number of sacks, number of interceptions, and the number of pass deflections or defenses. These are only available for more modern seasons. They're not available for the 1985 seasons. So this is blank, but you could use the interceptions as a substitute if you wanted to. So those are going to be mostly your guys in pass defense. And then if you have a penalty or a tackle for loss, you can use this player finder here. This is essentially all of your starters, or the majority of your starters, the people who play the most snaps. They're going to be in this on the defense and on the offense. So if you had an offensive penalty, you could attribute that to a player. if you had a defensive penalty, you could attribute that to a player. If you want to get that granular, that you're marking penalty yards down for players. If it's a tackle for a loss, you would just roll against the defensive players who are on the field, because essentially anyone could tackle someone for a loss. So that's not as highly specialized as sacks or interceptions. So that is how to use the player finder. It's kind of basic, but it allows you the opportunity to distribute yards and special play type situations, sacks, interceptions, etc. You can even do hurries. So if there's a quarterback hurry that causes an incompletion, then you could use the sacks, or you could use the defense to attribute that to one of your players. And we have sacks up here, interceptions, pass deflections, which you can use this for, and tackles for loss, right? So you have some tackles for loss. So lots of different ways that you can use the player finder within the context of the game. And a lot of times, if I want to use the player finder, what I'll do is simply roll an extra D10, if I can find one. Okay. So I'll just find an extra D10, and I'll roll them all together. So here we have a 9, and let's say it's a medium pass. A 9 on a medium pass, that would be a pass going to Justin Jefferson. So I just kind of roll it all together and just have a distinct D10 that I'm also rolling with all of my play level stuff. And then that's going to give me the receiving. And let's say that was a quarterback hurry, then I simply re-roll that dice, attribute that to Danielle Hunter, and then now we have a quarterback hurry. Or you could use over here, and you could use Byron Murphy. So either way you could do with the quarterback hurries here or here. It makes more sense for me to use the sacks, because that's going to be your guys who are putting pressure on the quarterback. So I would probably be looking at Danielle Hunter, who was the one who put pressure on the quarterback. So just kind of a not a stray or a random, but an extra D10 die. Rolling it with everything else, or you can wait until the situation comes up where you need to, and then roll that D10 to be able to get the assignment of the player. And so that is using the player finder in using the player finder in play action football.